Hello, my dear students. A warm welcome to all of you. I am very happy to sharing the subject comparative literature with you. Thank you for joining me. Shall we look into the lesson now? So we have seen the definition, that is, the comparative literature is an academic field dealing with the study of literature and cultural expression across linguistic, national, geographic, and disciplinary boundaries. Comparative literature performs a role similar to that of the study of international relations. The characteristically intercultural and transnational field of comparative literature concerns itself with the relation between literature broadly defined and other spheres of human activity, including history, politics, philosophy, art, and science. Unlike the other forms of literary study, comparative literature places its emphasis on the interdisciplinary analysis of social, cultural production within the economy, political dynamics, cultural movements, historical shifts, religious differences, the urban environment, international relations, public policy, and the sciences. The term comparative literature denotes any literary work or works when compared with any other literary work or works of any nation or any place. Hence, comparative literature is the study of interrelationship between any two or more than two significant literary works or literature. So, may I repeat, what is comparative literature? Comparative literature is the study of interrelationship between any two or more than two significant literary works or literatures. It is essential that while making comparative study, we must take the sources, themes, myths, forms, artistic strategies, social and religious movements, and trends into consideration. So what are the things we have to consider? We have to consider sources, themes, myths, forms, artistic strategies, social and religious movements, trends into consideration. The comparatives. Who are those comparatives? One who is comparing the literary work of art. So the comparatives, with this critical approach and investigations, will find out the similarities and dissimilarities among various works that he has undertaken for the purpose of comparison. And also, the justification lies in the fact that his approach must be unbiased, unprejudiced to reach the ultimate truth. So, that is very important. So, what he is bringing about when he compares with two works of art, there should be and that should be unbiased and unprejudiced to reach the ultimate truth. And definitions of Henry Remarque defines comparative literature is the study of literature beyond the confines of one particular country. So, comparative literature is the study of literature beyond the confines of one particular country. It is the study of relationship between literature on the one hand and the other areas of knowledge and beliefs on the other hand. Maybe painting, sculptures, architecture, music, philosophy, history, the social science, such as politics, economy, and sociology, and the sciences, religions, etc., on the other hand. In brief, it is the comparison of one literature with another or others. So, it is a comparison of one literature with other literature or another literature or other literatures as a whole in the universe. It is the comparison of literature with other spheres of human expression. What is the scope of comparative literature? Comparative literature is a comprehensive term. It is a comprehensive term. Its scope encompasses the totality of human experiences into its embrace. All internal human relationships among the various parts of the world are realized through the critical approach to literatures under comparative study. And comparative literature helps to vanish narrow national, international boundaries, and in place of that, universality of human relationships emerges out. Thus, the term comparative literature includes comparative study of regional literatures, national literatures, and international literatures. So, the term comparative literature includes the study of regional literatures, national literatures, and international literatures. Comparative literature analyzes the similarities and dissimilarities and parallels between two literatures that we have seen already. It further studies themes, modes, conventions, and the use of folk tales, myths in two different literatures, and even more. This gives an opportunity to study literature of different cultures. This is a room for comparative study of literatures. Comparative literature is full of translation studies, sociology, critical theory, cultural studies, religious studies, and history. There are two or more than fields of study. Comparative literature goes across national borders, across time periods, across languages, across genres, across boundaries between literatures and other arts. So, what is the purpose of comparative literature? So, the purpose of comparative literature is to cross the border and boundaries of nation, people, customs, behaviors, cultures, myths, history, philosophy, and social movements. So, what is the purpose of comparative literature? The purpose of comparative literature is to cross the borders and boundaries of nation, people, customs, behaviors, myths, history, philosophy, and social movements. So, there are definitions of comparative literature. The definition of comparative literature given by Vijay Kumar Das, who is very simple, vivid, and which is very simple, vivid, and understandable. The simple way to define comparative literature is to say that hello. சொல்லுங்க சொல்லுங்க லட்சுமி. பண்ணிட்டேன். ஆமா பண்ணிட்டேன். ஜர்னல்ஸ்லாம் போட்டேன். அப்படியா? ஐயோ! ஆமா. நான் திருப்பி பண்ணுனேன். யாருன்னே எனக்கு தெரியல. இந்த நம்பர் சேவ் பண்ணல. ஆ, ஆ. பண்ணிட்டேன். ஓ! சரி. சேவ் பண்ணிக்கிறேன். ஓகே. தேங்க் யூ. ஆ. ஆ. The definition of comparative literature given by Vijay Kumar Das is very simple, vivid, and understandable. The definition of comparative literature given by Vijay Kumar Das is very simple, vivid, and understandable. The simple way to define comparative literature is to say that it is a comparison between the two literatures. Comparative literature analyzes the similarities and dissimilarities and parallels between two literatures. It analyzes the similarities and dissimilarities and parallels between two literatures. And it also further studies themes, modes, conventions, and the use of folk tales, myths in two different literatures. The social importance of comparative literature is in its cross cultural orientation. We learn to see that there are connections and distinctions in how writers, filmmakers, thinkers, readers work through cultural and linguistic differences. It also broadens the perspective of people and the writers and the translators. The Italian narrative skill, humor, and insight features are found best in Chaucer, the Norman, and the Latin origin. Comparative literature is the recent origin and advanced form, despite that it's spreading in many directions. Comparative literature started very slow to cover humanities much in Shakespeare. The English influence can be seen on Goethe and Greek writers. Then, combining of two literatures took place. It might be personal satisfaction. The greatest dramatists, historians, novelists, poets, biographers, and storytellers were placed side by side. French scholars quickly picked up the offers of the study of comparative literature. So, French scholars are very quick in picking up the offers of the study of comparative literature. It happened in the middle of the last century. Western scholars use the word Indian literature or African literature very large way and is very difficult to change. And we use African literature, Afro American literature, or British literature in a very large way. Because of lack of consideration or respect, they limit something that differs slightly from other similar things of what he calls constituent subliteratures. So, comparative literature lost its respect or consideration and they call it as constituent subliteratures. Indian and African scholars use Western literature or European literature. Literature had to start with the whole way of life of the particular people, their behavior, habits, attitudes, and their moral and religious beliefs. Literature had to start with the home and the way of life of the particular people, their behavior, habits, attitudes, and their moral and religious beliefs. Eventually, as it had happened in Indian Comparative Literature Association was established in 1981. So, Indian Comparative Literature Association was established only in 1981. It declares its aim and it was to arrive at a conception of Indian literature which will not only modernize our literature departments but also take care of the task of discovering the greatness of our literature to present the panoramic view of Indian literature activities through the ages. So, what is the aim of that Indian Comparative Literature Association? That is the arrive at a conception of Indian literature that will not only modernize our literature departments but also which takes care of discovering the greatness of our literature and other literatures too, other Western or uh, African or European literature too, to present a panoramic view of Indian literature activities through the ages. So, comparative literature means what is comparative literature? Comparative literature means comparing the literature of two or more nations, two or more cultures, two or more traditions and societies, and the values religious beliefs, attitudes, habits, and behaviors of people and their background or and their environment. So this is how comparative literature has to be done for any piece of literature. So it is an initial step in learning the comparative literature. This part is just an introduction to comparative literature. What is comparative literature and the definition of comparative literature? And we have seen the scope of comparative literature. Okay. And the comparative literature helps us enlarge our perspective in the worldwide literature. It shatters the boundary line of Indian writing in English, and it gives us hope to look into the other literature too. By comparing our literature with other countries' literature, we came to know of their culture, their tradition, their behavior, their social setup, and everything that enlarged our perception towards the world. And those who are reading that also came to know of the literature around the globe. So it helps in such a way that we could remember that the help of comparative literature in the field of literature. Thank you one and all for listening to this video. Shining off from Dr. A. Muthamina, Department of English, Mother Teresa Women's University, Kodaikanal. Thank you. தெரிஞ்சிருச்சு பாத்துருக்கேன் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் பாக்குறேன் ட்ரை பண்ணி பாக்குறேன் இது வீடியோ மட்டும் எடுத்திருக்கேன் போடலாம் செய்யலாம் அதை நம்ம பென்ட்ரைவ்ல காப்பி பண்ணி சிடியா மாத்தி தான் தரணும் யாருக்கு யூனிவர்சிட்டிக்கு அப்லோட் பண்ணி விட்டுரு யூடியூப்ல அது அப்புறமா அப்லோட் பண்றது தனியா பண்ணிக்குவோம் இது மூடலுக்கு கொடுத்துட்டு நம்ம கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா அப்லோட் பண்ணுவோம் அப்படியே அவங்களுக்கு கொடுத்துட்டு இப்படி சேவ் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்க வேண்டியது அப்லோட் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்க என்ன பண்ண கூட அம்மா